Okay, good morning everyone. Again, long time. Yes. Yeah. So one of my friends from IIT Bombay, he got married recently. I went there. He has joined Indian Institute of Science as a mathematics professor, right? Mathematics department. Then if you want to join Indian Institute of Science after this, right, just do let me know. I will try and help you with his help. Yes. Indian Institute of Science ಹೋಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಬೇರೆ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ, right? That also you should write. And Indian Institute of Science also offers really good programs. Okay. And it's in the heart of Bangalore. So it's a good alternative to other engineering and IITs and NITs. Yes. Okay. So we are discussing electric charges and field chapter in the last class, and we have talked about what is a charge, yes, and what are the types of charge that exist, right? Charge is basically a fundamental property of matter, right? It is a intrinsic property of matter. Okay, intrinsic andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ, right? With the example of roll gold and real gold. Yes. Okay. Now the type of charges that are there are positive charge and yes, it's called a protonic charge or positive charge, and the other one is called as electronic charge or negative charge. Okay, so these are the fundamental charges. Positive charge ಯಾಕಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Because of proton, every matter consists of positive charge. And along with that, every matter also consists of electrons. So it also has another type of charge called as negative charge or electronic charge. So positive charge because of proton, negative charge because of electron. Okay. And the smallest unit of charge which exists, you've seen that it is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Okay. This I am talking about is magnitude of charge. Okay, the magnitude of the smallest charge will be 1.6 and 10 power minus 19 coulomb. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇರಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. Okay, whereas for mass there is no lower limit and there is no upper limit, whereas for charge there is a lower limit. And ಇದೇ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ you see for proton the charge is how much? The charge will be plus E, or it can also be written as plus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, and similarly for electron charge ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? For the electron the charge will become minus E. Okay, so minus E or minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Then we've also seen types of charged bodies. Now is neutral body, positive and negative. Okay, so neutral body alli enagutte, the total number of positive charges and negative charges is equal. So as a whole the object is neutral. Okay, if the number of positive charges is more than number of negative charges, what it becomes? It becomes a positively charged body. So negatively charged body ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Amount of negative charge is more than amount of positive charge. Okay, now here we also define something called as N. Okay, what is N? N is the difference in number of protons and number of electrons. Okay, this N is very significant. Okay, we will learn something called as a quantization of charge, which is one of the fundamental properties of charge. Quantization of charge alli Q is equal to plus or minus N E anta ಓದ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. That N which we use there, that N is nothing but difference of protons and electrons. Okay, now how do we obtain this positively charged or negatively charged object? Right, there are three different methods. One of them is by friction, right? Friction alli ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, we rub one object against the other object ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯಾವುದ್ರದ್ದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. You rub one object against the other, okay, and then one of them will become positively charged, the other one will become negatively charged. Okay, ಯಾವುದ್ರದ್ದು electron affinity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, will it become positively charged or negatively charged? Negatively charged. Why? Because electron affinity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ electron ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೇಕು, right? So it will remove electrons from the other objects. Electrons ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, negative charge ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, right? So ಒಂದು negative charge ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು positively charged. Now, the next type of method of charging is conduction. So conduction basically can be done only for conductors. Okay. Conduction lane agate, if you take two objects, one object is actually charged, okay. So this is a charged object, let's say. Now this is brought in contact with an uncharged now, as you know, even with charges there is associated energy, okay. So even as you have with gravitational force, there is an energy called as a gravitational energy. Adhe tara charge you kuda electrostatic energy anta irutte, adu next chapter lo otthivi. But you understand there is energy associated with charges as well. If you have a charged object, adardu one energy irutte. If you have an uncharged object, adardu one energy irutte. Now when you connect these two, what happens is, because there is a difference in energy, what will happen is charges will flow from one object to the other object. Elli tanaka charges flow agutte? Until the energy of both of them become equal. Okay, what is the energy that I am talking about? The energy I am talking about is called as potential energy, okay, or idralli specifically it is called as electrostatic potential energy, okay. Now after some time what happens is, this will also now when this also gains positive charge, what is happening is the positive charge from the uncharged object to the uncharged object, is it flowing or what is flowing? Electrons are flowing, right? We always studied that charging ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Only electrons transfer. In this, what is transferred is actually electrons from this uncharged object are transferred to this charged object. So when electron is transferred from this, what happens? This will gain a positive charge. Idr ಮೇಲೆ ಇರೋ positive charge ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ. So as a result, what you will get is, this also will become a now frictionally, when you use friction and charge a body, one object ಮೇಲೆ positive charge, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು object ಮೇಲೆ negative charge ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Whereas if you use conduction, what happens is, if you use a positively charged object, you will get a positively charged object. Positive charge use ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ? Positively charged object ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ನಾನು if I use and if I connect it to uncharged object, ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, after some time what this will also become a negatively charged object. So conduction inda yav type of charged object barbodu? Only same type of charged object. It is not possible to get oppositely charged object. If you use a positively charged object to charge another object, what you will get? You will get a similar charge. Idar mele kuda similar charge barutte andre positive charge barutte. If you use a negative charge, idar mele kuda negative charge barutte. It is always so how do we write this? Right? In conduction, what do we do? An uncharged body is charged by bringing it in contact with another charged body. Okay. So conduction use ಮಾಡುವಾಗ electrons will flow from one object to the other object. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ flow ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Until potential energy for both the objects becomes same. Okay. Charge same ಅಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? Potential energy same ಆಗೋ ತನಕ charges flow ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay. And you obtain same type of charge after conduction. Now, if both of them gain same type of charge, ಎರಡರ ನಡುವೆ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ? Repulsion ಇರುತ್ತೆ. It will not be attraction, it will be repulsion. Okay. Learn about this. Okay, so can we calculate what is the amount of charge transferred and what is the charge after charging on both the, yes, specifically for spheres now calculate madak nodtivi. Okay. Let's say you have a charged sphere, okay, on this let's say the total charge is q, okay, this is let's say the radius of this is, and then you have another sphere whose initial charge is 0, okay, so it's neutral, and let's say the radius of this is rp. So before charging the state of these two is like this. You have sphere A which has a total charge of q, and you have sphere B whose total charge is 0, okay, and the radius of this is RA and the radius of this is RB. Okay, ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ connect ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ, okay, after you connect both of them, okay, after the charging is complete, what will be the charges? Okay, so after completion, let's say the charge on this is QA, okay, and the charge on this, idar mele plus irutta minus irutta, plus, yes, okay, and charge on this is QB. Okay. Now there are two equations we can use to calculate what will be the charge. Okay, the first one is QA divided by QB will be equal to RB divided by RA. Okay, and the second one is QA plus QB will be equal to, okay, we will use both of these conditions and then calculate what will be the charges after conduction. Okay. Now we will go into how you get this in the next chapter. As I said, conduction ಯಾವಾಗ ತನಕ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, conduction ಯಾವಾಗ ತನಕ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ until and unless their energy is same. Okay. Now you get this condition when the energy of this and this is same. Okay, so KQA by RA, KQB by, for a sphere energy ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರೀತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, for a sphere we write as energy is KQ by R. Okay, so for this you will write as KQA by RA should be equal to KQB by RB. ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ QA by QB is equal to, oh, QA by QB is equal to RB by RA by RB you should get, no? Okay, this should be RA by, sometimes derivations are also important because it helps us understand and remember the formulas correctly. Yes. Right? Okay, so ಎರಡರದ್ದು ರೇಡಿಯಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎರಡರ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೇಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, because RA and RB will be same. So Q1 by Q2, QA by QB will be equal to 1. So QA will be equal to QB. So if QA is equal to QB, then what are the charges on each of them in terms of capital Q? Q by 2 and Q by 2. Okay, if we have similar spheres, right, if you have similar spheres, ಒಂದರ ಮೇಲೆ 10 ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ 0 ಇದೆ. when you bring them in contact and remove them, what happens? ಎರಡರ ಮೇಲೆ 5 and 5, yes, ಎರಡರ ಮೇಲೆ equal charge divide ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Finish writing this? Okay. Now, the next method of charging is so induction and conduction both are used. Okay. Now, we've talked about induction before. Okay, so look here. As you can see, in this sweater, the amount of positive and negative charges are same, because everywhere positive and negative charge are present together. So this is a neutral object. Okay, even on the balloon also what happens is you have equal amount of positive and negative charges. And same with the wall. Okay, so this is a wall. On this wall also you have equal number of positive and negative. Now what happens is, if I rub this balloon on this woolen sweater, what happens is some amount of charges are transferred from one object to other object. Okay. This type of charging is ಇದು ಯಾವ type of charging ಆಯಿತು? Friction. Yes, it is friction. Okay. And here we are not rubbing it very much because this is a simulation. Now see here, after we have charged them, this one balloon has become negatively charged and the sweater has become positively charged. So between opposite charges what we have is, we have attraction. Okay, so friction ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, between the two objects there will be attraction. ಅದೇ conduction ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ between both the charges there will be repulsion. Now this is fine, this is a positively charged body and this is a negatively charged body, so therefore this is attraction. So this is a neutral object, so idr nadbarka ee balloon nadbarka attraction irbardu hauda, but still attraction happens. See how that attraction happens. Are you observing what is happening to the electrons? Yes, because this is negatively charged, what happens, the electrons within this are getting what? They are getting repelled. Okay, so electrons one kade ಒಂದು ಈ ಕಡೆ negatively charged ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ surface ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ positively charged. So now that this surface is positively charged, what happens is, this negative and this positive, there is attraction. So what is happening here, when I am bringing this near, this is induction. Why are these electrons moving away? Because of induction. These negative charges are inducing an electric field ಅಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ, and because of which what happens is, these are moving away. Now we do the same thing. Let's say this is a conductor. Okay, ಈ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಇದು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ ಸಮೀಪ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, we connect this object to earth. we connect that object to Earth. What does Earth do is Earth has a large repository of charges. Okay, and Earth in energy ಏನಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ, Earth in energy 0 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, so Earth connect ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರಬಹುದು, that also becomes zero energy. So ಅದು zero energy ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇವಾಗ, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗಿ this will become positively charged. Now this becomes positive, this positive energy, and because of this negative energy the total energy of this object will become zero. Okay, so ee tara you charge this object. Okay, so this type of charging is called as induction. So induction alli compulsory earthing ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. earthing ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ earth ಇಂದ charges flow ಆಗಿ this will become positive or negatively charged. Okay, so what you do is you bring a positively charged object near a neutral object. Now when you bring a positively charged object near a neutral object, what will happen is this surface will become negatively charged, and then you have, yes or no? Yes, something like this separation will happen. Okay, once this separation happens, what happens is if you connect this to Earth. Okay, so this is the symbol we use for earthing. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡಿವೈಸ್, ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನಿಕ್ ಡಿವೈಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಅರ್ತ್ ಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು once you connect this to Earth, ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಟೋಟಲ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಝೀರೋ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯಾವ ತರ ಝೀರೋ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು positive charges or electrons will flow from here, and then what happens is this will become now because of this there will be positive energy here, and because of this there will be negative energy here. So the total energy of this object will become zero because it is connected to Earth. Okay, because it is connected to. Now ಇದನ್ನ earthing remove ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, you remove this and you remove this, what you will get is you will get a negatively charged object. Okay, so induction alli opposite charge induce ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, when you have conduction, in conduction what do you get, you get same type of charge. In friction you get opposite type of charge, and in induction also you get what, opposite type of charged object. Okay, now ಅದೇ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ if you bring a negatively charged object near this neutral object, what will happen is that this surface which is near to this object will become positively charged, and this will become negatively charged. It is becoming negatively charged ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, only electrons are shifting from one position to other position. So the electrons will shift from here to here. What happens, temporary positive charge and a temporary negative charge is created. Now if you want to make this permanent, what you do is you connect this to Earth. If you connect this to Earth, what happens is, because Earth and this object's energy should become equal, charges will flow from Earth or to the, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ will flow from the object to the, and what kind of object you will get a Okay. We are obtain same type of charge or opposite type of charge in induction? Opposite type. Done. After induction, ಎರಡು ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಡುವೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ರಿಪಲ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Attraction, yes. After induction, okay. Now, friction ಅಲ್ಲಿ conduction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? In friction, let's say you are charging both of these objects, or you are charging both of these objects, ಒಂದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು rub ಮಾಡಿ you are charging. Okay, what is happening? Some amount of charge is transferred from one object to the other object. So one of them is losing some charge, other one is gaining some charge. Now, in conduction, if you are charging this object with this object, what do? You connect them, and one of them will lose charge, the other one will gain charge. ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, and then ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes. So even in this also there is some loss of charge. Okay. Whereas when you use induction, what is happening is you are only bringing this object near this. So you are trying to charge this object using this one. Okay. Ada? ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ using this. Is there any actual transfer of charge from this object to this object? No. So ಇದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಲೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ? No. So ಈ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ can I use this to charge another object as well? Yes. I can use this to charge multiple different objects without actually losing the charge on this object. So therefore, the method which is used or preferred to charge any object is induction. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Loss of charge ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಅರ್ತ್ ಇಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, and earth has infinite amount of charges. Okay, the assumption is made that earth has infinite amount of charge. ಅದರಿಂದ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು earth energy always taken as zero. Okay. 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 It is preferred method of charging because object does not lose charge. Okay. Now, how is charge measured? Charge is measured in coulombs. Okay, so coulomb is the name of a scientist. So therefore, the coulomb anta C anta ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, the C is capital. Okay. How do you get coulomb? Right? Actually, if you remember your class 10th current chapter, how do you write current? Current I is equal to S Q by T, right? Amount of charge divided by time. Okay, and what is the unit for current? The unit for current is ampere. Okay, and the unit for time is second. So therefore, unit of charge ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Ampere into second. Okay. Although charge is a fundamental property of matter, coulomb is not a fundamental unit. Okay, is coulomb a fundamental unit? Fundamental unit ಏನಿದಾವೆ? 7 ಇದಾವಲ್ಲ? S mass length ಅಂದ್ರೆ mass length time amount of substance luminous intensity temperature and current, right? So current is taken, although current is amount of charge divided by time, current is taken as a fundamental unit, whereas charge is not taken as a fundamental unit. Charge is actually a derived unit. So charge Q or coulomb C, okay, or coulomb C is actually equal to what? Ampere. Okay. Why is it taken like that? Okay, our fundamental togoti, our fundamental togilla, it is only dependent on how easily and how universally you are able to measure that physical quantity. Current can be measured universally with ease. So therefore we take current as a fundamental quantity, whereas charge measure model solpa difficult. Nowadays everything is easy, but when we were deciding which is a fundamental quantity, avala ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ difficult ಇತ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ fundamental ಇದನ್ನ derived quantity ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Now CGS unit of this is ESU. Okay, ESU ಅಂದ್ರೆ electrostat unit. Okay, ESU is electrostat unit, or it is also called as what? Stat coulomb. Okay. SI unit coulomb anta andre CGS unit is stat coulomb or ESU. Okay, and 1 coulomb is equal to 3 into 10 power 9. Okay. 1 coulomb is equal to okay. We have another unit called as farad. You might be learning about this in chemistry. Farad or Faraday? Huh? Sorry? Farad or Faraday? Faraday. Okay. 1 Faraday is equal to yes. 1 Faraday is equal to 96,500 coulombs. No? 1 Faraday ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? If you take 1 mole of electrons or 1 mole of protons, ಅದರ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? 1 Faraday. Okay. 1 Faraday mainly it is used in chemistry. Okay. ಯಾಕೆ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ? Because 1 Faraday is the amount of charge on 1 mole of electrons or 1 mole of protons. 1 mole ಅಂದ್ರೆ 1 mole is 6.023 into 10 power 23, right? Sorry, if I say 1 mole of protons, it will be 6 into 10 power 23 protons. If I say 1 mole of electrons, it is 6 into 10 power 23 electrons. ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರೋಟಾನ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಅದರ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ 1 Faraday or 96,500 coulombs. Okay. Do you finish this? Okay. So we'll try and bring the animation of gold leaf electroscope. We'll try and understand using that. Gold leaf electroscope alli enilla amount of charge estiде anta calculate madodakke what we use is we use something called as a gold leaf electroscope. Okay. Now important things are properties of charges. Okay. One of the fundamental properties of charges are additive in nature. Okay. Charges are additive in nature. Andre ಏನಪ್ಪ charges are additive in nature andre ಏನು? Let's say you have charge here q1 which is 1 coulomb and you have another charge here, let's say q2 which is equal to, and you have another charge here q3 which is equal to f. Okay. You have these charges here. Now I define a system like this. Okay. What I will do is I will define two systems like this. Let's say this is one called as system 1. Okay. And then I have another system. So by now we know system of particles, andre it is a combination of many particles. You have a system of charges, andre it is a combination of many point charges. Okay. So in this I have defined two systems. One is S1 and another is S2. S1 contains what? Q1, Q2 and Q3. Okay. And S2 contains of Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. If you want to find what is the total charge of Q1 or what is the total charge of S1, how do you calculate the total charge of S1? Is Q for, it is simply algebraic sum of all charges. Okay, algebraic sum of all charges andre what does S1 contain? S1 contains Q1, Q2 and Q3. I can simply write this as Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Now if I say only this, it is an algebraic sum of charges and it is Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Ivu erade statement inda niಮಗೆ total charge ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುತ್ತಾ? 1, 2 and should I take it as 1 plus 2 plus 4 or should I take it as 1 plus 2 minus 4? Okay. So when you are adding these charges, what you have to do is you have to add them along with their sign. Okay. So the total charge here is taken as 1 coulomb plus 2 coulomb and minus 4 coulomb. This comes out to be how much? Minus 1. So what is the total charge of system S1? The total charge of system S1 is minus 1. How did we find that? We found that by simply adding these charges algebraically. Algebraically andre without worrying about where they are, in which direction it is. Algebraically, if I ask you to add 1 and 2 and minus 4, how will you add these? Right? But if I give them directions, is it a simple addition? No, this is not a simple addition. Okay. Now if I ask you what is the total charge on S2, what will be the total charge on S2? Total charge on S2 will be simply Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4 plus Q5, and that will be equal to how much? Come on, tell me. 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 minus 4 minus 10 and this is plus 6. How much will this be? Minus 5. Okay. So please write down this total charge. Total charge for a system can be found, by ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ you can simply algebraically add all the charges present in the system. Then when adding the charges, while adding the charges, they are taken along with their signs. Okay, while adding the charges, they are taken along with their signs. Okay. Yes. Additivity of charges means what? Means that charges can be added algebraically. Yes, charges can be added algebraically. An extension of this is charge is a scalar quantity. Yes, an extension of this is charge is a scalar quantity. Okay, so write these 2 points. We take down this example as well. Yes, all these charges and define that this is one system, this is another system. If you want to calculate the total charge in system 1, it is Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 because system 1 contains Q1, Q2 and Q3. And system 2 contains Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5. Yes, so charge is measured in coulombs. Okay, SI unit is coulomb and CGS unit is ESU or start coulomb. ಎರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದೆ 1 coulomb is equal to 3 into 10 power 9 start or ESU. And chemistry ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು 1 farad. 1 farad is equal to 96,500 coulomb. But 1 Faraday definition ಏನು 1 mole of electrons or 1 mole of protons ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು 1 Faraday ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, we'll talk about the remaining properties in the next class.